I'm Jay from the Kubz. Welcome back to another episode of reacting to these true scary story animations. You guys have wanted me to do this for a while now. I stopped it for a couple months because I felt like I was reacting to everything that was scary. Now there's a whole new library of scary content that we are going to dive into right now. If you guys are cool with that, you down with that? Everybody get ready and buckle up, because here we go! Creepy guy stalked me through TikTok. That's why I don't have a TikTok, because I'm not trying to get those creepy guys on my ass cheeks.
This happened pretty recent.
I like this guy with the deep voice. He always just puts that bass through the bottom of my balls.
Shopping center one evening. We were messing around posting clips on TikTok. Then one of my friends started laughing. And I asked her what she was laughing at. She told me that guy behind us kept staring at me. When I turned around, it was some older guy just watching me.
Why would she be laughing about that? She's like, look at that guy with the bucket hat and the shades and the beard that it looks like it hasn't been washed in days. He's so funny watching you like that.
He had black sunglasses, a cap, an old Adidas tracksuit with scuffed up shoes, and had a disgusting looking beard. My friends thought it was hilarious, but I found it really weird. Then another one of my friends said, she thinks that guy lives on her street, about a few houses down from her.
Oh, hell no, boy.
She said that he actually follows her on TikTok. At that point, I quickly got my phone out to check if he was following me, and he was. I had to block him because he seemed a bit creepy.
Yeah, hiding behind trees, spying on little girls.
Before we went home.
Shoot.
And I received a message on TikTok from someone.
They have a menu like that at McDonald's?
That guy who had been following us.
You just order what you know.
His name was Greg.
Why did you block me?
And he wrote, why did you block me?
You don't like him when he's angry.
One was a crying face, and the other one was an angry face.
Uh-oh.
He had actually created another account that day in the shopping center. I blocked that account as well, hoping
he
that would be the end of it.
He shouldn't have put a profile picture. Just be
I
low-key.
didn't mention it to my friends this time.
Have those ghost accounts, whatever they're called, burner accounts.
That night, I was up late and had Netflix on in the background as I was chatting with my friends on Facebook while scrolling through TikTok. I got up to use the bathroom, and when I returned, I had 3 messages from my friends, all saying the same thing. All were things like, who's in your room? And what's up with your last post?
What?
I asked them what they were talking about, and they told me to check my TikTok, so I did. It was a clip of my bedroom. It was a clip of someone picking up my phone and recording the inside of my room. At that point, I heard a creaking.
Oh!
Then I heard a man's voice say,
what in the bucket hat?
Please don't scream. And turned to see my closet door.
My man's got the Adidas tracksuit with the bucket hat.
The same guy who had been following us burst out of my closet and tried to cover my mouth.
Holy
Thank God
crap.
I screamed, and it was enough for my parents to hear. They came upstairs and my dad tackled the guy.
Oh, let's go!
Called, and he was arrested.
A cop just happened to be downstairs? What was he doing, sleeping in the guest room?
Admitted to stalking and breaking and entering. One of my friends pointed out, if I go back and look at the post on TikTok,
my man just wanted to be in the photos.
In the shopping center,
he ain't even trying to be discreet.
You can see Greg is in almost all.
Oh my dude! Stop that! No, I don't accept that. That is unacceptable. No way this man bought a lion suit, blew up 3 balloons, and just, oh man, come on. Hey, stop playing with me, man.
Somewhere in the back.
Oh man, they're just doing that for the laughs.
I haven't heard what's going to happen.
That's ridiculoso.
I just hope he won't ever come near us again.
Is he really under the bed? Plot twist, he's actually the bed sheet. Bruh. Come on, man. This dude has a costume for everything. Next video of today's episode is called My Mom Disappeared and I Ate Strange Meat. I would say pause on that, but we gotta see what kind of meat he was eating that was so strange.
It all started 3 weeks ago. My mom disappeared. She was at home in the morning, nothing different. She hugged me, saying goodbye, wished me luck with school, and gave me a packed lunch. And when I got home that evening, she wasn't there. She didn't come back. So we called the police and all of the search was set up. The whole town came together and held a giant search party, lasting through the night, but there was no sign of her at all.
I thought that they have to give you at least like 48 hours or 72 hours before they start looking. I've seen a lot of crime shows. Usually if you're over the age of 18, you can disappear and that's just that. Like there's going to be no police investigation, no nothing. But apparently this kid said his mom disappeared and I guess they went looking right away. Okay.
She had just completely vanished. The weeks since were hell for both me and my dad. Rumors started spreading through town, and particularly around the school, that my mom had been murdered. Dad took things a lot worse than I did. He was a carpenter, so it wasn't unusual behavior for him to disappear into the garage for a long time to work on a
Now
chair
we know
or
what happened.
table or something.
She obviously left him for a guy with a better
Especially, it was
job.
what he always did when he was stressed. I figured that's just how he was dealing with the grief. We barely spoke over the next couple weeks. He was locked in there from sunrise to midnight, and we might bump into each other at one point, but he'd just say goodnight and went to bed.
Good night, son. I'm gonna go
Sure,
jerk
it
off
was
to
a
some
bit
internet
weird.
stuff.
But I understood that he was going through a lot. But the longer he spent in there, the less I was sure he was doing woodwork. There were large bottles of bleach popping up in our bins, and Dad barely took any break. One night, I had waited for him to go to sleep, and I crept down to try to open the door. But it was locked tight, and Dad always had the key.
Oh yeah, it was locked butthole tight.
But today, when I came home from
Snatch
school,
that key,
he
boy.
was in the kitchen.
Ninja that
Freshly
shit.
shaved, showered, had a rested face. He was totally different from what he'd been for the last couple of weeks. He was cooking. My dad used to love grilling, and his steaks were always amazingly delicious.
Oh,
So
no.
it was a nice change since I fed myself only pot noodles and soup for a few weeks. He set down two of the biggest, bloodiest steaks I had ever seen in my life.
God
But
damn.
it looked kind of different. Not bad, but just different.
What are those, thighs?
Dad tucked into
Mom's
his steak
thighs?
straight away, and I did too. It was a bit tough to chew, but the seasoning and flavors tasted just as good as the rest of the steaks were.
Tasted just as good as mom.
We
I
had
mean
finished
mom's.
pretty soon, and I was feeling full and satisfied. Then Dad said something I can't stop thinking about.
What's up?
I doubt they'll ever find her body. His
There's no way
voice
he said
didn't
that.
sound sad or depressed.
Why would he incriminate
I didn't
himself
say
like that,
anything.
kinda?
Just stared at him. Hearing what he said sent shivers down my spine. Then I thought of the steaks. The late nights in the garage, hundreds of bleach bottles.
You're just
And my dad's weird
overthinking.
behavior.
No,
Did
no,
he
that's
feed
definitely
me
the
her
mom.
body?
That's definitely the mom. That was
Or
a
am I
thick ass
just
steak.
overthinking it? What do I do?
That's mom beef right there. 100% woman. Moral of the story, don't eat your mom. Moral of the story, cannibalism is wrong, and if your mother goes missing, become vegan. I'm going to be honest, the part where the whole town came together, that is heartwarming. No, it's not. That was so corny. That's some after-school special BS. When is part 2? I killed my father and my mom came back. Last video of today's episode is called The Roommate. Let's check it out.
Looking for a new roommate is always a daunting task. Even though you interview and take the time to get to know that person, you don't truly find out who they are until you start living with them.
I agree. I've
I
had a
begun
roommate
searching
before.
for a roommate after I decided
But he was
to leave
cool
my
as hell,
current
so,
residency.
I trusted him.
I was contacted a couple of hours after placing an ad on the Facebook Marketplace. The message read,
Hey Chris, I'll be moving out of my current apartment this August and I'm looking to room with someone new, as my roommates are moving to California this year. I'm 27 and am currently going to school. When I'm not at school, I enjoy hiking and watching movies. I also apprentice at a taxidermy shop on the days I don't have class.
Wait. She apprentices at a taxidermy shop on the days I don't have class? Red flag!
It's always been a fun hobby of mine. Anyway, I'm looking forward to hearing back from you. Have a great day.
And I know people who do taxidermy are going to say something to me in the
My first and
comments.
most
I already
obvious
smell it.
reaction after reading the message was to check her profile. She was a medium height, had long, messy blonde hair and green eyes.
Oh, that's hot.
In her profile picture, I saw her standing with a man and a woman shoulder to shoulder. They
So?
each adorned
That's
goofy
not weird.
grins and held up peace signs. Under the photo, the caption read, "Love my roommates." I smiled to myself and decided to send her a message back.
What? Why is that person
The sun
standing out the
beat down
window?
on us as we hoisted
She
various
listening on this
objects to the
conversation?
second floor of our new apartment. It took us a couple days to get everything out of the moving trucks and into our new place.
Bitch made.
But as soon as we did, a wave of relief washed over our sweat-drenched and sore bodies. After a couple more hours of rearranging, we each grabbed a beer from the fridge and sat on the porch.
Duff.
We reminisced about old 90s cartoons and what video games we obsessed over as kids. And as the sun started to set, I truly felt relaxed and confident that things were going to work out. A week later, I started a new job for a construction company that was owned by a good friend of mine. As I was getting ready, I heard the front door swing open. I walked into the living room to see Lunaire and her friend David sliding in a large box. "What you got there?" I asked. Through a strained grunt, she replied,
I bought a freezer to store some of the animals I'm planning on using in my taxidermy work.
I told you the
that's
taxidermy
alright.
thing was coming back to bite
I was
from the
obviously
dead.
hesitant at first, as there was no mention of this happening in the first place, but I eventually accepted and returned to my room to continue getting ready for work.
I know, because if you say that's kind of weird that you're going to do your taxidermy stuff inside the room, you're going to offend her, and then maybe she's going to taxidermy you.
Came home at around 9 p.m. after having a couple of beers with friends and noticed that the freezer was nestled snugly in the lower part of the pantry.
Oh boy.
A low hum could be heard reverberating off of the inner walls.
That's annoying.
I was curious to see what was inside, but didn't want to intrude on Lunaire's business.
Just do
so I
it.
went into my room
Be
and
a
changed
freaking
into more
man
comfortable
about it.
clothing. After changing, I came back out into the kitchen and started making a sandwich.
What's that red thing on the ground?
I opened the fridge
That
and
little red
grabbed what I
squiggly
needed.
shit.
As I turned around, I stubbed my toe on the edge of the island countertop and let out a long, exasperated grunt.
Ooh, that toe stubbing.
Through my
We
frustration,
all been there.
I slammed the fridge door shut and checked my toe to see if there was any bleeding. As I raised my head back up, I was greeted by a shadowy figure. Lunaire was standing in the doorway leading to her room. The darkness behind her almost seemed to envelop her.
She's like, what are you
Is
doing?
everything okay?
She said in a deadpan tone. "Shit, yeah, I'm sorry. I just slammed my toe into the corner of the countertop as I was making a sandwich. I hope I didn't wake you,"
It's fine.
she said, in the same deflated tone as before.
Scary ass?
She then turned around and walked back into the darkness
The
of her
hell?
room.
I would have been
I could
looking
tell
for a
that she
new
was
roommate
pissed,
right after that.
So I quietly made my sandwich and retreated back to my room as well, only hearing the low hum from the freezer as I closed my door. I had the next day off, so I was able to sleep in a little longer than usual. When I finally emerged from my room, I walked into the kitchen to make breakfast. As I opened the refrigerator, I noticed that the light wasn't turning on and there was a lack of cold air escaping from inside.
She turned off the fridge?
I turned around and flipped the light switch to confirm my suspicion. Sure enough, the power was out.
Oh, because the freezer is taking up so
I
much
muttered under my
electricity.
I walked over
Wow,
to
I'm a
Lunaire's room and
detective.
knocked on her door to tell her about the power outage if she didn't already know, but there was no answer.
Get out of my room, I'm playing
I then remembered that
Minecraft!
she had classes that day and probably wasn't home. I walked back to the kitchen and past the pantry. As I did, I slipped on the floor but was able to catch myself on the countertop. "What the?" I angrily exclaimed as I looked down at the floor trying to figure out what I had slipped on. It was blood. It had started to leak from the corner of the freezer and pool onto the floor.
It's probably
I
a
quickly
rat
tried to
or
open
whatever
the
you
freezer to
taxidermy,
find out
like
the
a
cause
bunny.
of the viscous liquid, but then I noticed that it had a padlock attached to it.
Break that
I
shit.
don't remember seeing that
With your
before.
cold bare hands.
I ran out to my car and grabbed my toolbox from the back seat.
Yeah.
I approached the freezer and set my tools down on the nearby countertop. I then pulled out a small pair of bolt cutters and snapped through the metal of the padlock.
Yoink.
It fell to the ground with a large thud. I creaked open the top of the freezer and was greeted with a putrid stench that permeated my nostrils. I quickly pinched my nose and walked away gagging in response. "I guess I should have realized that was gonna happen," I muttered to myself in between gags. After gaining my composure, I grabbed some
It's
gloves
not
from
what
under
we
the
think
sink
it
and
is.
started
It's an
taking
animal.
inventory. I could see a couple of
Yep.
dead birds in plastic bags wedged into the corners of the freezer. I took each bag out and set them in the trash can nearby.
Wouldn't
That's when I
Lunaire be
noticed
mad
that
at you?
the blood was
That's like
coming
her
from
hobby.
the corner of the larger black
Uh-oh.
bag. I don't know why, but I decided to open the top of the bag and peer inside.
It's the friend that
I was
helped her.
greeted by large,
Who the-
milky white eyes, a swollen black tongue surrounded by cracked and bloated lips, and the matted hair of a human head.
Was that her roommate?
I swiftly dropped the bag and fell backwards onto the floor.
The one that was with
My
her in the
breathing
picture?
had ceased to exist, and I grabbed the trash can next to me and expelled my disgust into it. I then ran out the door, got into my car, and called the police.
Good.
As I sat in the interrogation room with a blanket over my shoulders, I couldn't help but think about the face I'd seen. It looked so familiar.
It was the roommate, the girl.
That's when it finally hit me. I pulled out my phone and looked at Lunaire's profile picture.
Yup.
It was her old roommate.
Told you, I'm
The
a
one she
detective,
said
guys.
was
I'm
moving
on
to
the case.
California.
Problem solved. Hire
When the
me.
detective entered the room, she started the questioning process, asking me if I started noticing any weird behavioral occurrences around the apartment.
Bro, she just moved in.
I stubbed my toe the other day and she creepily stood in the doorway. It seemed like she was pissed, but for some reason I had a strange feeling like she was concerned about something. That's when I connected the dots. She didn't come out into the kitchen because she heard me stub my toe. She came out into the kitchen because she thought I slammed the freezer instead of the fridge.
Yep.
A cold sweat started to form on my forehead as my surroundings became blurred. I could hear a low whine slowly starting to cover up the words of concern from the detective. As my vision started to clear, I could see another officer enter the room and whisper something into her ear.
I know exactly what he whispered. He said,
Wanna eat my ass after you interrogate this asshole?
As he handed her a piece of paper. Do you have somewhere you could stay at?
see, she wants to wrap up this interview because of what that guy said.
She asked.
I can't make this up.
I mean, I was planning on staying with my parents. They live about 30 minutes outside of town. Okay, she paused. Listen, I don't want to worry you, but we found this picture inside of your apartment. She slid the piece of paper across the table,
It's
and I
him
immediately
sleeping.
felt like someone kicked me in the chest. The head of Lunaire's
Whoa!
other roommate sat on the chair. In the background, scrawled on the wall in blood, read, "Love my roommates. All of them."
Why would she do that to herself? Why would she just admit that she's the killer? Obviously, she's the third roommate, so if those two people are dead, BAM! We know who the killer is because it says, love my roommates. Alright guys, but that's gonna do it for this episode of reacting to these true scary story animations. If you guys would like me to react to any more scary animations on the internet, make sure you guys give this video one big fat like, and tell a friend today that Jay from the Cub Scouts is that dude!